The Return of a Now Tiny Queen Chrysalis by Reedman. The Return. It felt strange. It was like waking up after a long rest. She didn't feel even the slightest bit tired. Just awake. Queen Chrysalis wasn't sure how she came back from stone. She wasn't about to question it either. Perhaps her loyal changelings forced the pony to undo the spell. The spell could have simply worn off. Either way, she was back. Her vision was a little blurry, but it was quickly wearing off. Soon she could take her revenge on the ponies who dared to defy her. Soon she could... Aww! A thunderous voice boomed in her ears.
She's just as cute as you said she would be.
It wasn't easy to pull off. Another voice thundered. I hope she's of better use to access to you. Before she could see where the unbearable loud voices were coming from, her world went dark. She could feel everything around her shake. She tried to fly so she could get her bearings. It was impossible to do so in the dark. She managed to fly into bars. She was in a cage.
Let me out!
She shouted at the top of her lungs.
I, Queen Chrysalis, demand it! Did you hear that, brother?
The thunderous voice from earlier cooed.
I think she spoke. I don't know why I entertained this idea.
A new loud voice grumbled.
Because it's wonderful,
the first voice boomed.
She gets to see her old kingdom and still isn't a threat to any pony.
The two loud creatures she couldn't see would idly chat for a while. Had giant ponies emerged in her absence? Perhaps her children fed off so much love that they became giants. She couldn't think of anything else. Eventually the jostling came to a stop. She was blinded by the light when the cover was pulled off the cage. It took her a moment to regain her vision. After a bit of blinking, her vision cleared. All she could see was a wall of green with two great ovals of purple. Behind her was a wall of greenish-blue with bright purple ovals.
She's unbearably cute,
the first voice boomed. At this size, I guess she kinda is. There was something about these two she recognized, but she couldn't place her hoof on it. While she pondered this, the cage jostled one last time. Looking up, it appeared the cage was hooked onto something. Peering over the edge of the cage, she now saw she was dangling. She was extremely high off the ground. It was like a giant had placed her on top of a mountain. The two giants stared at her once more.
I told you, Pharynx,
the first voice said.
She'll be a great royal pet.
Keeping our former queen as a shrunken pet, Thorax, Pharynx said. Those are words I never thought I would say. Wait a moment. Thorax and Pharynx? It clicked. She slammed her forehoofs against the cage wall.
You traitors dare cage your queen!
She shouted.
Throw me back this instant!
Pharynx tapped the cage wall with the tip of his hoof. The force was enough to send her tumbling back. His face was right up to the cage wall. She backed up a little. It was admittedly intimidating. You're impossible to hear at your size, Pharynx said. But I know when you're making demands. You need to learn who is in charge.
Brother,
Thorax said.
You're being far too harsh on our new pet.
Thorax nudged his brother away from the cage. It seemed he was the one of reason. His punishment would be far less severe when she got back to normal size. However, that would happen. It was still registering in her mind that she was this small. She didn't even know a pony could become this small. They couldn't hear a word she was saying. Their voices were as loud as thunderstorms. Her thoughts were cut off as the cage was opened and tilted. She went tumbling out and into the air. She began to flap her wings. She made a quick descent to the ground. Massive hoofs slamming down in front of her brought the choice of landing into question. She craned her neck to look up at the giants. She would never say it out loud as long as she lived. The view of them towering above her was terrifying. Pharynx raised a hoof above her. She was enveloped in its shadow. It would be so satisfying, he said. Thorax was a pony of reason, it seemed. His looming hoof was pushed away. She found herself scooped up in a bright green hoof. She was rapidly brought to their massive faces once more. One green pony smiling at her, another glaring at her. It was clear who she needed to stick with.
Just because she's so small doesn't mean you need to belittle her,
Thorax said. Pharynx grumbled. It was clear he either held a grudge of some kind or wanted to show his authority over his former queen. Either way, she was certainly sticking with the nicer one. At least until she figured out a plan of escape. Though at this size, getting anywhere would take hours for her. They could catch up to her in a few steps. Thorax placed her on top of his head. He squealed how cute she looked up there when looking in a mirror. He would walk around, showing other subjects. It was terribly embarrassing being seen like this by those she once ruled over. It was infuriating. Though anytime she wanted to show her anger, Pharynx was somehow in sight. The two were inseparable. She made an escape attempt that night. Her magic wasn't useless at this size. Though as predicted, her size made things a challenge. She made it as far as the bedroom door before she was found by a sleepy Thorax getting a late-night drink of water. She wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. At least for now. Once again, this is Common Time with Visual Pony, and I will remind you that you can support Paw Productions through the links down in the description. Every dollar helps is needed and very much appreciated. You have the choice between Patreon, one-time donation links, and our merch store, and you can also become a channel member today to get exclusive perks like downloads of all of these stories. Believe me, it's a lot of stuff. It took ages to upload that to our G Drive. Anyhow. So, would I kind of like to see Queen Chrysalis return like this? Kinda. I mean, yes, it is humiliating for her, but come on, it is also kind of funny. Sincerely yours, Visual Pony. I hope you enjoy this, and we will see each other in the next video. I hope this video finds you well and in good health and spirits. This video was recorded, by the way, on the 18th of September 2021.